All right, Tom, it's a great pleasure to have you here. It's
great pleasure being here.
You are one of the people that I enjoy talking with most. I mean, you have this perfect history. Normally, tech people don't talk to analysts, right? So, but you have always had this very big picture drill down to the detail view of this whole market, previously just automation. Then you were one of the people who coined the term robotic process automation, which I never understood why it even happened, right? But not the term, but the actual industry. And now you are at the frontier again of AI-based automation, agentic systems, and all this that you have in your slide decks that I see. And I'd really like to drill down on a few of those topics today. Great having you.
Look forward to it, Chris.
Well, let's jump right into this. Right? I'm a tech person. For me, most of this.
Just look at your T-shirt and it tells the story exactly.
Yeah. The answer is 42. Right. So I'm a tech person, which means that I get to smile at all these marketing terms, right? Yeah, agents and agentic is something that we've been thinking and doing for a long time. AI keeps being misused. It used to be machine learning, then it was deep learning, then it's just artificial intelligence. Now, large language models, generative AI, blah, 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 right? It's a war of hypes and terms in there, and I hope that we can drill a bit down into the market. Absolutely. I mean, you see a lot of companies that work in the space of AI and agents, and you also see a lot of people who are supposed to use them, AI and agents. Is where do you see the gap? Like, what's the business gap between the providers and the users?
On one hand, we should be grateful because I think that I'm a failed story, we're going through almost shifts of technology and innovation and adoption. So if you think about the last big shifts, cloud, automation, AI, and it's always the same. So we start a conversation with capability, with technology, where we should engage. If you think around adoption of all those innovative technologies, then what are the outcomes? What are the business problems these technology actually solving? What's the scope? If we stay just with your example of automation, then are we looking at some very narrow task automation, employee productivity? Are we having a much bigger ambition, end-to-end processes, where some of the technology is really taking care of many intermediate steps, but we're never clear on the goals we're trying to achieve. But again, time and time again, especially with the big secular shifts like cloud and automation, we talk of capability. That's the biggest issue, and we always try to recoup the ground, and almost wondering why organizations don't make progress. And for me, the big context for all of that, it's a transformational journey of organizations. How can they, and I think often we are misguided, and it's not about talking to either digital natives or even now AI native organization and being very happy about any progress. It's the other way around. We always should look at organizations who are held back by technology, process, or even cultural debt. And all these technologies are meant, and not on technologies, but also approaches to overcome all the hindrances on that transformational. Take a good example, take a big bank. They're sitting on so much old technology, legacy technology, is holding them back. So just implementing a new piece of technology, it's not cutting the mustard. But that's almost a recurring theme, so what we've seen time and time again. But also, if you flip it to the buy side, where, of course, these are seasoned professionals. So they don't get excited by just the hype, but almost they are still trying to get the two questions they always asked. How do we, for any secular shift, how do we prepare our talent and how do we prepare our organizations? And again, here we need more answers, here we need more suggestions, but typically, especially if you're so early, that if you take the example of generative and agentic AI, we are still in a phase where we haven't even pivoted to these very practical operational questions.
Oh yeah, they're still doing classifiers and machine learning, right?
It's not almost you jumping into also back to technology as well, but I think it's the other way around. How shall we think about the operating model for AI, for instance? That's so important because productivity is raised to the bottom for most organizations. But that's, if you paint with a broad brush, especially across generative and agentic AI, that's what we're largely chasing. But again, it's more also how do you measure productivity? It's damn tough. I think we have to pivot, really some of going back to transformation, but again, some of think about how do we operationalize all those technology? And it's so important. I know it pains an engineer like yourself talking about the business term or the business outcome, but that's almost for me the big lessons learned. Every shift in technology, we have to, and I feel also that should be the almost job of an analyst to drive the discussion back to business context and business outcomes.
Now here's, like, you had so many points that I want to ask about, but let's start with one where you said, like, we have to prove the business value of a single step that we make. In my engineering view, this has taken us into a place where we do MVPs all the time. And no one, like, in every of those MVPs or POCs or whatever is a little island. And the guy responsible for that has to make that thing work, and he also has to make sure that the other people don't gain any advantage from whatever work he does. I think that is completely wrong, right? In the end, you end up with all these little islands, and they're walled off against each other, and no resources are being reused, and it's a big internal competition, and the market outside is not relevant. It's like, am I right, or is this just an abstract mathematical engineering view?
No, I think it's probably almost, I don't have the mathematical brain you have, so I think for me it's observation, just seeing whether I think the people are craving at times use case, some certainty, almost trying to get to certainty, anything they don't understand, they want to have proved. But typically to your point, we see all the POCs, especially on AI, most of them don't progress.
Well, of course they don't progress because the people who are supposed to buy AI go to the AI providers and says, like, okay, what can you do for me? What do you think you can do? And all the answers they get is very commonplace, small-time crap. Exactly. Instead of them saying, understanding what AI is, and then saying, I want you to do this and this for me. Can you do it?
No, it's that. I think you're exactly right. I think the way I try to articulate, I think it should be about reimagining at least the operating model, meaning working different ways. But to your point, to do that, you need a nuanced understanding of the basic. Good example, take Agentic AI. How much agency, how much autonomy is really in those solutions? I think so you need that basic understanding to then go the next step. What does it really do for my operating model over time, even for my business model? And that's where people can get excited, because if you say, look, I can literally on the highest level, I can treble my revenue because a certain set of activities I'm initiating. Then it becomes interesting.